Hey guys, and welcome back to the Metro Waterproofing Anniversary Podcast. We're here celebrating 50 years of service. They've been serving clients for 50 years, serving their employees for 50 years, serving the community at large for the last 50 years. What an amazing accomplishment. Today we're in the studio with Metro Waterproofing's officers, the folks in charge. They run all the day to day. They're the lifers. And so we are here to kind of talk about some old times growing up in the company and everything that happens at Metro Waterproofing and happened in the history and just growing up and that kind of thing. So thank you for joining us today. I'm going to kick it over to Ken. Ken, why don't you introduce yourself and then a little bit about the company and what Metro Waterproofing does from day to day.
Be honored to. My name's Ken Strickland. I can say the one thing that is the hardest thing to explain is what Metro Waterproofing actually does. We get the question all the time, but I like to say that we do what you would think we would do. We do the below grade waterproofing that people, and we as a family call the black stuff that people typically see on a below grade wall. So
Gotcha.
That's a small part of it. But I also tell people, if you see what we do, we probably made a mistake because we do the hidden work. So behind a cavity wall, which is, if you see a brick building, behind that brick there's an air cavity, and we waterproof behind the air cavity, so you never see that.
Gotcha.
We caulk, and it is what you think, caulking and sealants. We caulk window perimeters, we caulk door perimeters. But I think for laymen, if you just picture a football stadium, because we've done almost every football stadium in the Southeast.
Wow.
And people can relate to football stadiums.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're not walking on concrete. You're walking on a waterproof coating that we put down to protect the concrete. So if you ever had a football game, look down and feel it, and it's going to feel a little rubbery and have a little sand in it, a little skid resistant. So that's called deck coating.
So if there's a building in Atlanta, there's a building in the Southeast, it all needs waterproofing. So you pretty much touch every kind of construction there is.
That's correct, from hospitals to high rises to mid rises to storage facilities. Every one of them has to be waterproofed in some fashion or another. So
amazing.
Whether it be caulking, air barriers, expansion joints. What am I missing?
I always say restoration. From the outhouse to the Y.
There you go.
That's it.
Outhouse
and
to the house. I like
That's
that.
right.
We do quick trips to complete restorations. I mean, Myron, we did Atlantic Station, and it was 4 or 5 year old. Everybody knows Atlantic Station out there. They had all the festivals and everything, and they had some issues. And I think that we went out there and for about $10 million redid the whole exterior of that, and he can tell you more about that. But basically, what did we do?
We redid the skin when they converted it from a masonry facade to a fake brick to a faux brick facade. They forgot to change some of the building components, so we went in and retrofitted compression lines at floor joint levels, put a waterproof coating on the whole exterior of the building. We had to replicate the faux brick, so we had to hand paint all the brick profiles and put texture in the walls. So we spent a little less than 2 years, and at the time that was the largest, well, it may still be the largest project we've ever done.
Still is.
Yeah.
And ultimately the account generated $17 million in revenue for us.
Wow.
And it still generates revenue because we still do maintenance for them, just not as much.
Well, that's the beauty of what we do. If we do the new construction, once the building's built, we retain new clients with the property managers and maintenance people. Like we did the aquarium in 2005. I've been doing all their maintenance
Ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same thing. Just so that's what helps grow our business.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Natural.
And we have repetitive clients.
Yeah.
We've, like the parking decks at Hartsfield Jackson, the original north and south parking deck, we've done 2 maintenance cycles. We did the first one in 2001, right after 9/11, and then we did it again in 2014, and we're now negotiating to do a third maintenance cycle in 2022.
So that's really what makes it really different from a lot of construction type companies and jobs is that you have sales, but you also have retention, and you're getting people come back in or just stay on maintenance. That's incredible.
Like Dad said, this is a recession free business until
Right.
we don't live in a desert. If it rains,
Right.
it's raining money for Metro.
We like that.
Yeah,
We
every
like
time
that.
we rain, that's Dad's joke.
Yeah, that's
It's
great.
a great day.
Somebody's gonna call.
Keeps us in business.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to go back into the past and kind of talk about some of the history. You guys grew up in the company as Clyde and Sandra were getting this thing kicked off and started and growing. But before that, as I guess they were traveling around doing different jobs, maybe working for Holbrook. We've heard some of the story from Clyde and Sandra both. Teresa, you were born, the firstborn. And so why don't we go back and talk about maybe childhood for you? Do you remember those early days at all? How far back does your memory really go?
Truthfully, I remember living in Duluth, going to school there.
Okay.
And I remember the move to Lawrenceville.
Okay.
When they decided to move to Lawrenceville. I couldn't tell you when they owned the business or any of that.
Right.
Just all of a sudden,
That's
You
all
were-
we ever knew.
that's all y'all knew.
That's all you knew. That's all we all.
No, because when,
Just Metro. All we knew. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
but you really didn't think about it. Mom and Dad always had a job.
Right.
And you went to work and you went with them. If you were sick, you went with them. If you were.
Right. It was family business.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's involved from very early age.
And I really can't remember when you knew it was Metro. Because it was just, you're right, it was always Metro.
That's all
Yeah.
we ever knew.
Yeah. 1972, 50 years,
Yeah.
crazy. Pretty amazing. And then Mike, you came along.
That's right.
Yeah. So, what maybe tell us some stories growing up.
Well, same thing. I mean, my first memories of Duluth.
Yeah.
And I guess Dad worked for Metro then, but all I've ever known was Metro, and I didn't even think about this company.
Yeah.
I was too busy running around,
Right.
having fun, breaking legs, playing sports.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I remember you broken
we
legs.
We grew up, really all of us playing sports.
Yeah.
Teresa softball, me, baseball, and football. And, Dad was always coaching. I started playing when we were in Lawrenceville, and that's when we first got involved with baseball. I didn't play T-ball and stuff like everybody else.
Right.
So my first year out there playing ball,
Yeah.
and Dad's coaching, I didn't hit one ball.
Oh, no.
Mom would entice me with little toys and stuff. She goes, "Son, if you get a hit, we'll go get you a toy after the game." You know, I guess I was 8 years old or something. I didn't get one damn hit that day. And I cried. I didn't even want to play the next year.
Yeah.
But at Dad, we kept practicing and stuff. That's one thing Dad did. We
Yeah.
wore dead grass out in the backyard.
Wow.
We had
Throw-
base paths to the trees.
Throwing the ball every day
Wow.
after work with Dad and Ken, all of us. But the next year I went out there, first time up, slapped the ball and made All-Stars ever since then.
Wow.
But that was my beginning.
Yeah.
At the rock bottom.
Yeah.
To give it all up.
It started
I
early.
guess I had a rough time with all these sports because I played football one year, and back then you didn't play for your age group. You know, I'm 6'4", 330 pounds right now. I was probably about that big when I was 8 years old.
What were they feeding you,
So I
Mike?
had to play with kids my first few years
That was weight limit.
that were 1, 2 years older than me, and they picked on me. And
Yeah.
it was rough back then. The coaches would step on you, and it ain't like today. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, what years were this?
Oh gosh, I remember Elvis Presley died.
Yeah,
That's one of the
yeah.
things I remember being out on the football
Yeah.
field, and everybody said Elvis Presley died.
Well, that was 1979, I think.
All right, so that was 79.
Or 77 or 79.
You remember that? Anyway,
I do.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, because we were supposed to go. Daddy was
I
going
was
to take us to
done,
his
and that's
concert
another
next
thing.
time he came in town.
So I was done playing football because I couldn't stand getting beat up by all those big guys, but I guess it toughened me up. And I remember being in Lawrenceville and the coaches and Dad and everybody, they had to bribe me with a train trip down to Florida. They promised me if I played there was going to be a jamboree down in Florida. We were all going to take this train down there. And I was like, oh, I don't
Okay.
like football, but I'm going to go run that train. I'm going, okay, I'll play.
Right.
If it wasn't for these lies,
They did bribery, just straight bribery.
You never know, I might not even play football.
Bait and switch.
Yeah, bait and switch.
Oh my God.
It was tough, but that's the way life is, you know. I mean, stuff starts off tough.
Yeah.
I'll say that about Metro too. But no, we had a great childhood. Dad was tough. He was a tough dad. You know, it was all really was work, eat. That's his motto.
Oh my God,
It was.
get up. You could not sleep in.
I know. That was his motto back then. He says the same thing right now, being 82 years old. Work, eat. That's the simplicity of life.
Yeah.
Right there.
Work and eat.
Anyway, so we were always working in Kenny Tank. We had to do, it was chores every day, do your homework, mostly do your chores and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as we were old enough to get dragged down to Metro, even if we were just tagging along, we
You worked.
went on down to
went to
Metro,
work.
and you didn't sit in his office looking
No.
at the aquarium or other stuff that was kind of unique back then.
Yeah, there's
He put us out there with a broom in our hand,
There you go.
sweeping the warehouse. I tell everybody I've been working since I was 7 years old,
yeah.
and that's no BS. I mean, I tell everybody that.
Ken, it was same for you. Starting early.
Well, luckily, I'm the third child.
Yeah.
So I always say I'm the one with the silver spoon because, first of all, I always had two people to blame.
That's right.
He
Blame me
didn't
for
have to
everything.
get blamed. He
But-
never did anything.
Yeah, another thing that people don't know is
Teresa did it.
Strickland's didn't get sick.
Oh,
we weren't
yeah.
allowed.
No.
We were
That's
not
true.
allowed to get sick.
No.
Not allowed to
No.
get
No.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah, I went 12
Shake
years.
it off. Walk it off.
I went 12 years perfect attendance at school.
Wow.
But I wasn't 12 years perfect.
Wow.
And I know my mom don't like hearing this.
Yeah.
'Cause, when I was in high school, I had to have the flu probably for the first time in my life. But when you wake up in the morning after your mom took care of you, you didn't have a fever. A fever didn't hit till lunchtime. So she wakes up. I said, Mama, I don't know if I can go to school. She goes, oh, you can go to school. If you get to feeling sick, just give me a call.
Yeah.
Because if you make it two or three periods, you get counts for a full day. For a solid week,
There you go.
solid week, I'd call her at lunch, come get me.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not feeling good. And so,
Oh,
you know,
my
at that
gosh.
point too, when
Yeah.
I was in 10th grade, it was a point to graduate with 12 years perfect attendance. So
Right.
we would do what everyone does. I broke my leg in my last high school football game, in the very last game, and that I had to have 3 pins put in my ankle. But the following Monday, I still was at school.
Wow.
That's how. Now I did actually miss a couple days of school for
Sure.
the surgery, but I guess the school forgave me for that, and still gave me.
I think it was because
Still
of
gave me
the
that.
The
injury
school.
at the school
Yeah.
that
But for
I didn't know
early
that.
childhood,
So you really didn't go.
I really
Well,
didn't.
third.
I really didn't. A lot of these awards are fake, you know. But
right.
the longer you have them, they're real now because I can tell the story.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'll tell you about all kind of fake
But I
stuff.
brag about you all the time, still to this day.
Well, I'm in the paper. It happened.
Yeah.
So,
You're in the-
so
The thing is, Teresa, I bet you didn't miss a handful of days. I
Not
might have
many.
missed
no,
3 days.
I would
in
say as a
13
group,
years.
we probably missed 5 days of school. our
That
entire
had
life.
a magical health, or what do you call it? Solution to,
Yeah.
To
everything.
everything.
It's called a shower. Get in the shower, you feel better. I still tell my daughter that today. Tell me how you feel after you take that shower.
Yeah.
Get on down to
But the funny thing is,
Oh, I'm
when-
going to take parenting notes over here. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
pretty good one.
well, take this parent note. Shower fixes everything.
Yeah.
But when you're 10 years old and you got to go down to work,
Oh, gosh.
so here's how
Oh,
dad
God.
here's how dad woke you up in the morning. He didn't just come and kind of shug you and say I love you, son. It's
No.
time to get up. We had a fire alarm right outside all 3 of our bedrooms. So he would hold that fire alarm down until we were insane and we'd jump out of bed and it was time to get up. I would work my way to the shower now because it's early in the morning and I want to shower. Now, why kids don't shower these days, because some of mine don't like to take showers right now. I don't understand because I love them.
Yeah.
But you could not wash your hair before you went to work because there was no need to wash your hair.
allowed to.
You
Gotcha.
can't wash your hair, son. You're going to be working all day. I'm going to be working, put you out in the field, and you're going to be working in the warehouse. No, don't need a shower. Just brush your teeth and get in the car. And that's what we did. And to this day, I mean, if I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking a shower because I
Right.
like the way my hair feels
Yeah.
when I dry. But he wouldn't let you do that.
Wow.
That was phase
Yeah.
one.
That was phase one.
The alarm.
The alarm. Oh.
Phase one was the
I got
alarm.
right in work
And
about
just so
that.
you know, the alarm was Saturday and Sunday too.
Oh.
That wasn't just work days.
If you didn't-
You didn't sleep in at our house.
I know, but if you didn't get up, you got a glass of water thrown on you through the chute.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
had that
too.
thrown on me 100 times. That was
Oh,
phase
Lord,
two.
I never had that
That's
happen.
phase
I
two.
had it happen all the time.
Yeah, Mike talked about growing up. That's what we meant. Work, eat.
Yeah.
So before we worked at Metro, Dad would go to work, and if it was summertime especially, we had a list of chores. And I'll never forget, because the neighbors were up the street playing football and riding their bikes. And Mike and I are out there, and we had these huge beds around the front yard. It's got this thing that I can't
Lirio.
stand called Lirio or Lirio. I don't know how you pronounce it. But we actually had to take 2 pair of trimmers,
Still have nightmares.
and it would take, and we had to go around each pair and just make them pretty for Dad.
Did they make weed eaters back then?
No, we didn't have weed eaters. We
Or
didn't have. They
blowers.
didn't make blowers
Well,
because
if
we
they
had.
had, he wouldn't
we
let
had to
y'all
sweep.
use
We
it.
had to sweep the curb every day too.
That took 2 hours instead of 5 minutes.
Exactly. So
With a broom.
Right.
the kids up the street, a few times in our life, they go, "Do y'all ever get to play?" And we played a lot. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we did.
Now is the same way. When I ask my kid at home to put in 2 or 3 hours of work, 2 or 3 hours of work is really nothing, right?
Right.
It's just what you do.
Uh-huh.
But to a kid, it does feel
It
like
feels
all
like
day.
eternity,
So
yeah.
it felt like
It's
eternity, and we never got to play. So I don't want to come across like we were working, but you did work, and there was
Yeah.
and you had to work to eat. And I remember one time, Mike and I, our chores was to pick up sticks in the yard. Now I'm not exaggerating because it was after a storm. We had and by these times, I don't know if they still do, but they used to, the trash, or somebody used to pick up all the sticks if you put them by the curb.
The city would come
City
by.
City
still
would come by
does.
and take it. We had a stack that was 5 feet tall, 15 yards long, and I was so proud of myself. We were proud. Dad got home from work, and he said, "Let's go check the yard out." I was like, "All right, let's go check this yard out." Mike and I were walking around.
Job's done. Yeah.
Now, this is my dad back in there. "What the hell is that, son? What do you call that?" "That's called a stick, Dad." "Why isn't that stick in that stack?" I'm like, "I don't know, Dad." So it was literally, "You boys, as soon as y'all pick up these sticks, y'all can come back in and eat dinner." And that's the way
Yeah.
we were. That's the way we were raised.
But he'd wear it out if the trees weren't trimmed up right, the grass around the trees.
Right.
He was always, it's like we never could seem to get it good enough.
Right.
Back then.
Perfection.
So that's
We spent half the time, as soon as he'd leave, I'd
Play.
start swinging the rake at him and jump on him and
Oh,
try
yeah.
to beat him up and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half the time
We got a
we'd
brotherly
be-
love.
We were playing around though, and
Yeah.
Dad would get back. We'd like, hurry up, grab that rake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
we were half-assed.
one day we didn't grab it fast enough because this is what he's talking about. And let me tell you, when Mike calls it playing, I called it fighting because he was always bigger than me. But there was one afternoon, I bet we spent all day. We had to rake the whole yard.
Yeah.
And we had a lot. So we're
my.
about halfway done. Dad comes home early one day, but halfway during raking the yard, Mike decides it's time to slap that rake across my back.
That's right.
So my dad drives up as we're in the front
Oh,
yard
no.
with this line of pine straw halfway across, and we're rolling around the yard and we're fighting each other. But as soon as we saw the car, of course, we stopped.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's why I'll never forget that
No,
day.
it doesn't, yeah.
And then, but the thing is now, I want to set the story straight. He hit me.
And now it's on a podcast.
And I was
so
defending
it's-
myself. But we both got a spanking for that.
Right,
We
yeah.
both got in trouble for that.
Well,
I don't remember.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I didn't have to work outside, thank God.
Yeah, I was going to ask
No.
if it was any different for you. For you, did they had the manual labor duty? What kind of?
Mine was inside.
Yeah.
Or the phone call to, well, your mama's working late tonight. Can you start dinner? Oh, my word.
Yeah.
And trust me, I could not cook like mama. It took me forever to perfect biscuit making.
Yeah.
But I can cook now. But back then, I'd be like, oh, my goodness, why am I starting dinner?
Right.
Or we'd be
we were out
left.
raking the yard.
Or we'd be, she'd decide in the summer, Granddaddy was a produce hauler, so he had a place, and she would go to the farmer's market and bring home bushels of vegetables. And my job would be, and sometimes they'd have to help, We'd have to have all the beans done before she got home so she could, green beans snap before she got home so she could put them up that night. Whatever it was she had, we had to do. And I was like, shell peas. I sat and done that all day to be ready when she got home.
It really is an all-day affair.
Yeah.
I had a grandma that it would take her all day. She didn't go to church. She was cooking the entire time everybody else was at church. By the time you got home, that's how long it took, because you're shelling peas, husking corn. I mean, if you're getting that stuff from the produce trucks, you got to do everything, or the farm.
They were seemed as big as we were. I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is never going to be finished.
Yeah, it's going to take you forever.
No, I didn't. Dad did ask me to cut the grass one time. I cut down his Lirio.
I remember you.
And he looked at me and he said, don't ever get on that. Lawnmower.
You might have made the right move there.
Teresa drove the lawnmower up the tree.
No, that was mine. I did not know. I did not drive.
I definitely did.
I did not drive the lawnmower up the tree.
Run out there and get me off the lawnmower.
He did.
Oh my God! I'll tell you this.
Sure it was.
Dad owned a farm up in Athens.
Where I live there now.
Georgia Club.
Yeah.
Dad bought all this land.
Oh.
I think he had some tenant farmers up there.
They did.
Growing beans and all this, but
He'd make us
you
go
didn't
see.
call the landscape company and say, bring me 500 bales of pine straw. We took a broke down Metro dump truck down to Athens and raked all our pine straw out of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's how we got our pine straw.
Yeah. And while we were there, we picked beans.
And we picked,
corn.
We picked.
And we picked,
Yeah, so we literally worked on the farm there for a few years while I had this.
Yeah.
And Mama's station wagon would break down almost every time.
Yeah.
It seemed like we'd be sitting out there in the heat after we'd
Sure.
picked all that or done everything, and you'd be like, oh, great. Remember that time we were stuck after Myrtle Beach in her car?
Oh, yeah. We grew up with every kind of state. She had the Clark Griswold. It wasn't quite that bad. I was mom, keep buying all these station wagons.
Yeah,
station wagon, man.
There wasn't no vans, so the whole ball teams when Dad was coaching, we'd line up in this, and the best seat was in the back because you had two bench seats facing each other, and you can be in the back causing all kind of havoc. You know,
and we did.
doing things out the window that you shouldn't be doing, just laughing and joking because Dad was always taking the whole team back then to the back cages.
Right.
We stayed at the back cages every week.
So it was work through the week, and then on the weekends you got to do a little sport. You got to play sports. Sports every night, every practice. Oh yeah, you're practicing.
Oh, and you did not eat out. Mama cooked every night. You ate at home. The fun nights were the nights when she said, we're going to get a hot dog at the ball field. And you'd say, oh, yay.
All right, yeah.
That was rare, though.
Fast food. It was a special treat.
Yeah.
You go to McDonald's.
It was.
Pizza Hut was a huge treat.
Yeah, Daddy got so he loved pizza.
Yeah, love pizza.
Actually, it was Ken's Pizza. I remember go to in Snellville.
That's true.
Good stuff.
That's true. And they were talking about the station wagon, though. They were these long trips. They were nice to me. They said, Ken, the best place to sleep on this is down at the bottom. These are days without seatbelts.
Yeah.
So I'd get stuck at the bottom. And that one time when we did break down for the hours, I had this great spot because back in the day, these long trips, you know, the back folded down. That's where we put our suitcases. There'd be just enough place to spread apart. But on that particular trip we broke down, I remember I was chewing some bubble gum. It was bubble gum back then. I loved it.
Yeah.
But it fell out of my mouth onto the suitcase.
Oh no!
And Dad was taking all suitcases out. For some reason, we broke down.
Oh
and
no!
Oh no! I was like, oh my God!
Yeah. Oh man!
And Dad was crazy. Some of the times you think you were going to get in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
It was the odd thing.
He would give you the biggest hug and just laugh about it and tell you it's okay. That's just normal. Because his big saying, I think everybody's here is, life is a learning process. I think we've said that 10,000 times in our life. Because
life is a
you'd
learning
come home,
process.
he goes, what's life, son? You better reply, life's a learning process. So he knew there was mistakes and things were going to take place.
I wish I knew what we did that time, but we stayed at some cheap little hotel, one level, and he said, when we stop, I'm going to whoop all your asses, you know what I mean? It's what you were talking about. And we got in there, and he was lining us up, in the hotel room, and then he just starts laughing.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I remember that.
We were
doing something in the car.
I'm sure we were
bad.
doing something we weren't supposed to. We were good at that.
Yeah.
Remember the time we broke y'all's dresser and we had it hidden for so long? We did so good
That
getting
was
it
the
all
fun.
put back together.
They left for a week or something.
They were gone. Yeah, it was like that for a few weeks.
Me and Kenny shared a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 2 beds next to each other, and in between it,
There was
Uh-huh.
a desk.
Yeah.
like a secretary desk with a opened up to a table, and me and him would bounce around the beds fighting.
All 3 of us were in
All
there.
let's set the record straight
We were
on this,
all
okay? Because I remember that day vividly.
You broke them.
I was in the bed. I was in the bed sleeping. Mike comes in and starts picking on me, and Trace is in her other room. You come in, so all 3 of them are on the bed. I'm on the bottom now, and I'm getting trampled. And I push either Mike or Teresa. They step on this desk that folded up, and that was what you worked on. It's right in 2, just a perfect
split
little
it
line.
It was like an angle.
So of course it's
Well, no, but
hey
it looked
kids,
good.
what's going on up
Yeah,
there? And we're
yeah.
like nothing, and we put it back.
We got it
on.
all fixed perfect.
You're talking about one of the first jobs Mike and I went and did. We did a roof. I think we were making. We worked all day roofing a job, and it had to be. Dad had a cell phone back at that time in his car, and
The bag phone?
And he
Bag
get bag
phone.
phone. And Mom was talking to him, and he says, "Clyde, I want you to tell the boys I got something special for them when they get home." You remember that?
Oh yeah, I do.
And I remember Mike and I looked at it.
Oh,
We knew what it was.
No, we didn't say because back then we cussed a lot.
Uh-huh.
We said, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
We were in trouble. And Mama just walks up there and pulls that thing. And it had been months.
It'd been a while.
We got away with
Finally.
it.
We got away with it.
It was a long
No, it
time.
was months. It was
months.
not.
Yeah,
It was-
but we got our coming on that one too.
Actually, we didn't get in. I don't think we got in as bad a trouble as we would have if we'd gotten caught that night.
No, it was so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but see, that's how she's. Glad you just tell them I got a surprise
Yeah,
for
we
them.
knew it.
We knew what it
So
was.
you guys built a bond through adversity here.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
You have to.
like it-
Absolutely.
Oh, like me and you, I really picked on him, but we.
You did.
I
That's
What
never
brothers did.
wanted
Yeah.
to hurt him, but we literally just whooped each other all the time. If a commercial came on,
Yeah.
we'd jump on each other and roll
Yeah.
around. Man, it was rough. I'd spit on them and do all this
Yeah.
stuff.
But I have
it
to
ain't
say-
as bad as it sounds. But it was pretty bad.
No, but Mike was great. He'd give me fair warning.
Yeah.
So we'd sit there
coming. I'm
We'd
coming.
sit there and watch a movie at night, and I'd be laying across the floor because even back then, I don't know if this is early, about when we had cable TV. I think we did because I was a young kid. I'm the one that changed the channels,
Uh-huh.
the 3 channels that we have.
We got the reach on.
When we moved up, we had the
4.
cable. We had HBO. So, but Mike, he'd lay on the couch and he says, "Ken, just let you know." Commercial comes on, I'll kick your ass. Now, this is when I figured out I'm not too smart.
You
Because
know-
all I had to do was get up and leave before the commercial would come on. But I'd just sit there, and like he said, we'd roll and
Yeah.
hit and fight. And Mike was real talented.
Yeah.
He could make spit come out of his mouth
And get it back in. Yeah.
and get 2 inches from me, and he'd suck it back up. And,
Yeah, that's brothers.
And we're fighting, and
That's
we're hitting.
brothers.
And every once in a while, I just didn't understand that spit was going to go back in his mouth. So I'm on the bottom, I'm being pinned down. So what would I do? My spit didn't go; it just spewed on him. That made it even worse. So that made we're rolling around with spit all over us. And then the show would come back on.
They'd stop.
He'd get back in the couch.
Yep.
I'd lay back on the floor.
Boom.
Yeah.
And we'd stop, and then it was it.
Yeah.
Next commercial.
Next commercial, roll all over again. I remember it so
It's a good thing you couldn't
It's
pause
so
TV
funny.
back then.
Yeah,
You
there
might
was
not be here
There was
today.
no pause. That's how it did.
We had this carport with real slick concrete. You remember them old blue roller skates we had with the steel wheels?
Yeah.
We'd put them on, and we'd go out there and roll around and box. You don't remember that?
I do not remember that.
I don't remember y'all
I
doing
have
that.
taken that
My
bad memory
foot.
out of my head.
Box with
Right.
no gloves on.
I remember jumping out of off the
good.
roof from your room.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Jumping out
I
off.
got good at that. Sneaking out.
Yeah.
Mine had the perfect spot.
Yeah, mine was
I
good.
did not sneak out.
But see, that brotherly love and the bonds that we have,
Sure.
we protected each other.
Right.
And I tell my kids all the time, I can't stand when my little girl comes up and says, "You know what Colin did?" I'm like, "Well, don't you love your brother enough to keep that quiet?"
Yeah.
Unless it's harmful to our health.
Right. Yeah.
But we
'Cause we didn't.
did not go and tell mom and
No.
dad the things that we were doing. Only if it was Bottom line.
Right.
Because again, Mike liked to pick on me. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be telling these stories.
He didn't pick on me.
We're up in the bedroom, and we're doing our wrestling. But somehow or another, I got knocked on the floor, and on my way down to the floor, I hit the bedpost, so the whole back of my head got split open.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't realize at the time. I just knew it hurt.
Yeah.
And then my mom and dad, they're like, "Hey, what's going on up there?" We're like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
Nothing, Dad. We're fine.
Yeah.
Ken, come on down here. I'm going to talk to you. No, I got your back, Mike. We're good. Our house was sub-level.
Split level.
So I'm standing on the top of the steps, only like 5 steps down. Same place I threw the pie against the wall. And I'm looking at Mom, and she's like, "What is really going on up there?" And I'm like, "Nothing." And she goes, "What's that on your hair?" I was like, "Nothing." And I do that, my whole hands full of blood. And that's when I had to tell him, it was Michael. It was all Michael. I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, that's the line.
I had to get him in trouble that time.
Yeah.
Because very rarely did I win a battle. And I didn't win that battle, by the way. But we were cutting the grass. And back then you had a ride lawnmower and a pushing lawnmower. And the pushing lawnmower was just trim around the trees. So
right.
I actually didn't mind doing that because you finish your chores way earlier than riding the lawnmower.
Sure.
Mike had done something to me that I was totally ticked off at, and so he was riding the lawnmower. So as he was riding it, I had my little Red Daisy BB gun, and I'm just peppering him in the back with it.
Yeah.
And I felt real good, and that was it. And I put my BB gun up, and retaliation was always something you had to worry about.
Right.
So, back in the day, we had 2 chairs in the kitchen with a little bitty TV, and that's where I watched most of my television. Well, I fell asleep, so he came up to me and put his fist in my gut while I was sleeping, and it hurt. I remember it today. I was devastated. So the only time
you knew where it came from.
The only time you get Michael
retaliation.
back, so I had to wait till nighttime. And by this time, he had moved out of my bedroom, and he had his own bedroom across the hall, about 3 steps. So I just went in there, and I'll never forget this because I wanted to make sure I got a good shot of his nose. And he's sleeping on his back, and I remember going, "What?" Shoot. And that third one, I just, bam! And blood all over the place. No. I won that battle.
Yeah.
Only bloody nose I think it's ever
Had to get you when you were sleeping.
I won that battle. I was so good. And I don't remember how I paid for that.
I don't know, but you did.
Yeah.
I paid for it plenty of times.
Oh, my gosh.
Deserving it, though. I do.
Well,
But I want to say this about Teresa. Like in our neighborhood, again, I don't know what it is. I was always bigger than everybody. So these kids in the neighborhood thought, I'm going to jump on Mike Strickland when he gets off the bus and beat me up and stuff. They were always messing with me.
Yeah.
And, Teresa we were on the bus together. I guess you were still
I don't think
a
he
year
was in
behind
school
or something,
yet.
even though me and Kenny were just 1 grade behind. But I remember these kids picking on me one day on the bus, and Teresa goes over there and she slaps the hell out of me. and they got back and they got off of me. That was my sister. I still tell people about
Hey,
that.
now.
Like she had my back.
Yeah.
We
Same
protected
thing.
each other.
No, we did.
You did.
Stuck together. It was okay for you guys to fight, but not
Yeah,
not out.
Not on anybody
There's
else.
a bond.
No.
No, we got a bond.
Yeah, unbreakable bond.
Now I will say y'all didn't hit me.
No.
That was not.
You were the
That was not.
we didn't
I
fight
hit-
him.
You were
I
the
hit and pinched.
pincher.
I was a pincher.
Professional pincher. She'd claw you and it would stick in there. And you'd have blood. You'd have these pinch marks in there. And her tongue would go,
Teresa was.
You enjoyed it. Enjoyed it.
Teresa was an easy mark.
Yeah.
We blamed her for a lot. Mom and Dad believed us for
They
some
did.
reason. So,
I know.
I'm
They
coming
did.
clean. I messed up the game room floor, and I feel bad because she got one of the big old whoopings.
I
for it.
did. I got
And
a
I
bad
never
one for
admitted it.
that.
I sure wasn't going to admit it, but I'm 53 now, so.
You can let it go.
Mom and Dad, it was me.
I told them it wasn't me, but they never listened.
Oh goodness.
Most of the time they did, but
Well, when you're a kid, you're always on watch. You don't want to get in trouble. You got the rules.
That's right.
And they say one of the best parenting pieces of advice that I ever got. I don't know that a whole lot of people really put this into practice, but always giving your kids something to overcome. And, talking about being in the same bedroom with one another, talking about, just all the things that you had to do. It's a good thing when your parents are the thing to overcome. And so even though they're really hard on us growing up and they put all these things in place, it pulls brothers and sisters together and makes them strong. And y'all certainly are going to need that later on in the story, later on in life, because now you're still all together, still all working together.
That's right. Through all that, you can go back to vacations, and I know we were talking about that. I mean, how many times did we stop off on vacation? Dad go, hey, I got to stop off at this job.
Yeah. And we had to go
stop off for a job on the way to vacation.
Always.
Yeah, that sounds like Clyde. That sounds just like
coming home and, hey, I got to make a pit stop. Let's stop by here. And stop in. So we'd all be packed in the car at this time, the Lincoln Continentals. We were packed in the back. And I remember I had a Walkman on with the orange headphones and stuff. I never will forget. And I was like, okay, Dad, 10, 15 minutes. Next thing you know, it's 2 hours. You never know.
Yeah.
Because I made that mistake later on in my career with Haley.
Right.
We went, I said, hey, I got a job in Florida. You want to go with me? And she goes, yeah, it sounds fun. It was 1997, my first beach condo I did, so I thought it'd be fun to go on down to Destin.
Yeah.
I didn't know about these meetings, and we went out the night before, met all kind of people, and then the next day I said, honey, but before we go home, I got to go to this meeting. It shouldn't take but an hour, max. And, so she's sitting down there. I took the car keys inside and everything, and it was 3-4 hours later. This meeting lasted 3 or 4 hours. Haley was so freaking mad. I was thinking about Dad though.
Never happened again.
Stopping off, never happened again. You never know how long these meetings are going to.
Yeah. Now, see, we do that all the time. Or stop at a job.
Yeah,
going
we'll
and
stop.
Coming but I've learned, get the car keys in the car, and I go somewhere and you call me.
That's right.
Come find you when I'm done.
And sometimes I'll go with you, go in with you and talk to them. I've sat in meetings with you before, job meetings, and I've gone in with them too. But
well, I want to jump over into high school. So you guys met in high school. Got to get you in the conversation, sir.
Well, I grew up in the same neighborhood that they did.
Oh, okay. So you're
the first time that I ran across Dad, Clyde. The joke in the neighborhood was to go ring their doorbell and run.
Oh.
We had that joke a lot.
A lot.
Oh, okay.
Because he would come out and he was like Yosemite Sam. He would jump up and down and scream at you. And so I was one of those kids that would come ring your doorbell.
Oh, all right.
I was 8 and 9.
All right.
Did you get the shotgun in there?
I was there when the shotgun
went off.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so that kind of dissuaded everybody from doing that. But Teresa and I met when I was a junior and she was a sophomore. We met in Spanish club and at Central Gwinnett, and we started dating, and we dated through my senior year and her senior year, and then we got married. And we got married on June the 11th, and we went to work at Metro on June the 20th, and we've been there ever since. This summer will be 39 years.
There you go.
What year was that?
Wow.
1983.
We met in 81. We got married in 83.
I remember you coming in, driving your little green MG, and my gosh, I was little. Just
You were.
thinking you were bigger in life because you were a high school guy. I don't even know what I was.
You were in the 5th grade, I guess.
5th or 6th grade.
Yeah. It was
Wow. Okay.
My best memories was when you were a senior and I was in 8th grade, not playing football, but going to watch them play football.
Okay.
It seemed like we were in the station wagon.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, you were.
Either that or Dad's car, because Dad took a bunch of people, all my friends and everything to games.
81.
Yeah, I just remember all the good times going to all the games and watching him and cheering, and not being a part of the football, just watching it, enjoying it.
That was fun.
I remember all the music.
Well, that
It
was
was fun.
then football games were a community event.
They were.
It was our community against South Gwinnett's community, or the big game that was Gainesville. That was our big region rival.
Yeah.
But Clyde would come to my wrestling matches. He has a distinctive voice, and I'd be out on the mat wrestling. He didn't know anything about wrestling, but he was cheering me on. I mean, he kind of adopted me too as part of the family. And so
Yeah.
he would come and for football games, he would bring Teresa and all her friends to the football games, and I could I still remember we were playing North Hall, and it was raining cats and dogs. I'd never played in a football game that I was that wet. And I turn around, and Teresa's wearing my leather jacket, and it's soaking wet.
Oh, that's a no-no.
Well, it was wet. Hey, you know what? That leather jacket still looks good.
It does.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, it was, we dated and got married and started our family and went to work at Metro and.
Well, tell them about the lake house, because didn't you live at the
When
houseboat?
we first got married,
The houseboat.
we lived on a houseboat.
Yeah.
Well, I think you need to tell the story about when you had to drive the boat home.
Yeah, we were
That was
dating.
back to the
We were dating,
dock.
and I had to go home, and Teresa was going. I guess you were going to spend a night with a friend.
I don't know.
And the houseboat was on the other side of Lake Lanier from Holiday Marina, and Clyde said that we could take the John boat. They called it Granny. And he said, "You know how to drive that?" And I'd never told anybody I couldn't do something.
Right.
Yes, sir, I can drive the boat. And so we're about halfway across the lake, and when you drive a boat, you're supposed to go with the swells and go around stuff. Not me. I could see the marina, and I'm headed straight for it. We were going through whatever was in the way.
Yeah.
Teresa looks at me, she said, "Have you ever driven a boat before?" I said, "Nope." So
And I grew up on a lake, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't grow up around the water. So we made it back, and so now we have our own lake house and boats and.
Yeah.
That was a huge part of our life, being at the lake.
Was it
It
the
was.
lake?
The whole-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First,
thank
it was just boats. Then it was that tiny houseboat. Remember when we had
That
to
was his
sleep out
first
front?
First one, loved
Remember
it.
He got that on trade of a Harley.
Yeah.
Or, hold on, the plane.
Yeah,
I think when he traded the plane, he got a Harley Davidson and a little houseboat.
Oh, wow.
This
We mean
houseboat
little.
was
Yeah.
the biggest piece of crap you ever seen. I mean, it couldn't have cost $5,000. It was a box trailer with orange vinyl couches, 2 bed. It was
Yep,
an
I remember
outboard
it.
engine.
We had to sleep out on the front deck. That was
It
our
was
spot.
terrible.
It was
Yeah.
awful.
But Dad loved it so much that he started graduating up to bigger
Yeah.
houseboats and stuff. And again, we worked.
Fixed up those
I actually
houseboats.
hated it. I didn't even want to go to
You
the
had to
lake.
clean it. No, you had to fix.
We cleaned and painted and nonstop
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we ever did in life with Dad was a teaching lesson.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if you're cutting the grass and come here, boy, you're gonna need to do this one day. And he'd come over there and he'd flip that lawnmower over and he'd show you how to change the blade. It was
Yeah.
always, you're gonna have to do this one day.
Yeah.
But no matter what we did, and yeah, I'm sure, like you said, Ken, the time frame
It was little,
huge.
yeah.
We
I
had
think
fun
back at it, it was-
80% of the
Yeah.
time and work,
Yeah.
but it was really work. I
I
don't
was-
think I slept late until I got to college.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't sleep late till.
Well, even when we got
I
the lake
left.
house on Saturday mornings,
Oh, my
he's
God.
out at 6:30 with his blower whistling.
So you could
So
get
you
up.
got up
Oh,
at
yeah.
6:30.
And right around your window.
Yeah.
Well, he did it on purpose because there wasn't anything around the window that you needed the blower
No.
for. There wasn't a sidewalk, but he would blow the windows.
Get up.
You're going to get
Time to
up.
go.
Sleep the day away.
Oh, gosh.
Tiffany and Erica
That's
still
awesome.
talk about that too. How
Yeah.
Granddaddy would wake them up with the blower.
And I'm that way with Bailey, and I've learned to relax a little bit when it comes to sleeping late because I love it.
Yeah.
I cherish it.
Yeah.
Well, we
Weekends.
do. There are times, I mean, because we didn't get to sleep in. Now, Mama would let us if Daddy happened to be on a job or out of town on the weekend, and we'd be like,
Yay.
We basically worked from middle school, high school,
we did.
college, every off hour we had. And we said we were working in the field.
In the business.
Right.
That's what I wanted to ask next. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, just, whatever you'd like to share from the early years, but you guys pretty much, it was just ingrained. It was just a part of life. It wasn't like a decision. It was, hey, you guys are going to come to work today, and what kind of stuff were you doing? Y'all were all young. Did you go first, or?
Yeah, I didn't work out in the field and didn't have to work in the warehouse, but I did have to help with payroll. I still remember turning back then the taxes were on a roller, and you'd turn it and I'd help write the payroll checks and help with filing or whatever they decided needed help with that they thought I could do at my age.
Yeah.
But yeah, you went to work and you worked. There was no, but the fun part was I got to go to lunch.
We love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was good to it, bad. I probably will be honest, didn't have a lot more of the experiences that Mike and Ken had, because like Dad showed me when I got my first car how to change my oil and how to do everything. Then he goes, just take it down to Mr. Oak's shop. He'll take care of it.
Yeah, Mike and I started working early, and the first time, I mean, Dad would just wake you up and take you down to Metro, and again, no hair washed, but you're just picking up trash. Mm-hmm. And we made a lot of money back then, and this is one of my jokes in life, because
we did.
Well,
you couldn't touch it.
I tell everybody in middle school, I got paid $5 an hour, which man, that was good money.
Oh yeah.
And when I graduated high school, I was still $5 an hour. Yeah. It really went up too much, but
that's why I got me.
But we made extra money. We would pick up. Back then, you had your Coke bottles. The men just trashed them, and there was hundreds of bottles around Metro. And Mike and I, we'd pick them up, and we'd put them in a bag, and we'd go to the grocery store. I think, and that's where they would.
They used to have those everywhere.
Yeah, and they would take our bottles, because these were the ugliest bottles I've ever seen. Like, they were covered with black stuff. Every once in a while, they said, "We can't accept this," and I won't cry. That's a nickel or whatever it was back then. But we picked up trash, and then, we were 12 years old. We were roofing. And we were carrying stuff all day for the people doing the roofing.
It was grunt work.
And grunt work, yeah. And then in high school, in high school, we didn't have any skills. Right. So we would come to work. He would,
a backbone.
He would put, he always put me with called Kenneth Little. He was called Chicken back then. Yeah. And his son still worked for us today. But I would work with Chicken almost every year. And Chicken, it was always digging up. Digging. I think it had to be your job, Scooter. We worked at Coke, and we dug all summer. And it was me and a couple of my high school buddies, and all I did all summer was just dig a hole. So Chicken and the people that knew how to do the waterproofing would do the waterproofing. The only beautiful thing about that is I wanted to go there every day, because at the end of the day, Coke had these Coke machines.
Yeah.
And we just slapped them 20 times, and we'd come home with 20 Cokes in it. So that was a treat. But we've done it all, Mike. We used to sweep the warehouse and play on the little trolleys, and
we do a horse. We had this baccarat stuff that now somebody got real wise on this baccarat. We use it every day, and now it's the noodles that everybody swims on. We've been using that stuff since the 70s. Yeah. That's what backs our joint sealants and caulking. And those noodles, somebody's just absolutely millionaire off of them. And
that's always my example. But I'm like, I wish I would have thought of the pool noodle. Yeah.
But we actually used it.
Y'all saw them around all the time.
We use them, and we actually use them. I got baccarat at my lake.
Well, we need to come down there.
We don't buy pool noodles.
3-inch.
The big ones.
Yeah.
They're like
I got
this
some
big.
6.
Yeah, so Mike and I, we'd be out there working and playing with the baccarat and having wars. And they had these push carts, and we'd ride them. And I think that's how
make like horse.
That's how you fell off of it. And he went sliding through this material.
That's different.
That was older?
No,
we were playing.
That was different day.
We were playing, and he went through, it's called toluene, because I'll never forget it.
Solvent.
It's one of my funniest visions of my brother, because he slid through it, and it's, I'm a little...
We were cleaning up a bad spot with the toluene on the floor.
Well, you the one that went through it.
I know, but it got real, so this floor got real slippery. So I thought it was cool to glide through it. I was just gliding through it. Next thing you know, I'm on my ass, and I'm solvent. It's on me. And I'm telling you, I'm intolerant to solvent. Even if I'm around, you go in the warehouse, I feel it through my skin. But anyway, this solvent was all over me. The next thing you know, it's like I'm on fire. My body's on fire.
Then he's naked.
It was bad.
In front of the office where the water hose.
I learned a hell of a lesson with that.
I bet.
We don't mess with it.
That's all I remember.
It ain't a play toy, a skating ring. I remember that freaking Dolly and this baccarat. We were doing like the Roman.
Yeah, we did that too.
One of us would trade off being the horse, like
now we know what they were doing back then. You probably knew what they were doing.
Dad say sweep the warehouse and go back there, and it was just an absolute mess.
You couldn't make it.
Wasn't like it was today.
No.
It was a completely different world.
It was.
Completely different situation, because it was the beginnings,
Yeah.
And it was still, we had a great warehouse. I mean, it was a different time. I remember, it blows my mind now, you go back, every office had ashtrays in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dad had whiskey on the shelf, pistols in his drawer.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's how it was. That was business.
It was.
You know,
That was business.
You wasn't getting in trouble for yelling at an employee back then. You know,
Yeah.
it's totally different now.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even know what an HR department was. We didn't have any of those departments.
Not until
Only
last.
until after Dad left.
No, it's been
Yeah,
a
that
while.
was after
oh,
he
yeah.
left.
HR started well
HR
after
was
that.
we were HR. Finally,
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
were
want to
HR.
be HR anymore.
One of my favorite work stories with Dad is, though, and I think you were with me, Ken. We went down to Florida to look at some roof leaks and stuff, and we were just there. Hey, son, y'all want to go down to Florida with me? So, hell yeah, let's pack up. I think it was Tallahassee or something. Winter Construction, Arnie Silverman, I never forget it. He was the president of Winter Construction. I guess Dad went down there for him, and we could go down, look at leaks on the building. We go in this nice boardroom, and Dad's talking to him, and this way Dad was. We can do it. I'll start tomorrow. And I'm going, how are we going to start? Next thing you know,
We got new clothes.
Dad's on the phone calling a crew to come down, and we ended up going to like a dollar, family dollar store, and Dad was cheap. I had lime, green, and yellow sweat top and green. I looked like a damn Martian. And couldn't take a shower for y'all reasons the next morning. And I could have swore you were in some red.
It was awful.
And then the crew comes down in the morning. I think it was Richard Page.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was in mismatched sweatsuits with tennis shoes.
Next thing you know, we're on the roof the next day, smearing mastic, fixing leaks with Dad. We worked a lot with Dad.
Yeah,
I always tell people, you don't want to work with Dad.
No.
Because you'll find out what work is, production. Like,
That's
Crazy.
right.
Dad would tell us, hey, boy, go grab that ladder. I'd start walking. He could, God dang it, run. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
We got work done. I mean, flat out.
Yeah.
And like our standards, and I hate to, I'm going to say that, but we've been ingrained our entire life of work ethic, these standards that are above norm.
Right.
I think it's what's
Makes a difference, though.
Yeah, that's what's
helped make us
successful.
successful in
Yeah,
everything.
it did.
Along with sports. I think
Right.
sports all through
Tremendous.
everything I've done in sports, along with the guidance of mom and dad.
Well, Teresa and I talk about that. You know,
Yeah.
you ingrain that in your children, and then, like our oldest grandson plays baseball at Brookwood High School, and we're watching the game. We went last night, and they make error after error after error. And when we left, we're talking about when our daughter started at Central Gwinnett, because both our daughters were on the state championship team, and we make errors. I mean, you go all the way back to when our oldest daughter was 6, and we're playing T-ball All-Stars. We won state championship, you know? And then we proceeded to win that. You know, when I coached them, we won state every year.
Every year.
And then we started travel fast pitch, and our first year out as a travel team, we won state. And you know, so it's just ingrained in us. We're going to get up, we're going to show up, and we're going to do our best. And
It seems like a lot of that's been lost
Of course. Yeah.
now for people. It's not your best. It's, oh, we're out here just to have fun and get a trophy.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what got lost,
And
I
oh
think.
my gosh, that would not happen with us growing up.
Right.
Well, I mean, we didn't teach our grandsons. Our youngest grandson, Levi, I had his T-ball All-Star team, and you know, the parents were talking about we're going to order trophies. I said, no, we're not. If we get a trophy, we're going to win the trophy. We're not buying trophies.
Yeah.
Of course, the league gave them to us, and I wouldn't give them to the kids until we were done.
Right.
And we won,
Yeah. Well, that's good.
but then I gave them their participation trophy, and most of them threw them away. But it just, you know.
Well, you know, they do that. Everybody wants to have their kid feel like a winner, and that ends up being the thing that they pay for when they're going to do the little leagues and stuff like that. And man, that's just going to make a lot of people mediocre at nothing, you know.
And it is.
You start to see
You're
that.
seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Dad. He coached me in baseball every other year because we
We're on the same team.
We were on the same team every year. So some years we were on the same team. Next year we took a bypass, so I'd have a new coach. But I'll forget. We practiced baseball in a cow pasture, some kind of cow pasture over in Lawrenceville.
Yeah.
We built a backstop.
What's his name? Lee?
But Dad didn't care who you were, what you did. he practiced you hard. And of course, if it went under you, we're doing push-ups or we're running. There was a pole, and I don't remember how far the pole was, but that was your mistake pole. And if you made a mistake, drop your glove and run to the pole.
It was 100 yards.
So, I don't know how far it was, but I remember one of my good friends got drafted onto the team or picked onto the team, whatever you want to call it, but he had a disability. And he couldn't walk. I think his name was Scott, but he had a leg problem, and he had braces. And the ball went through his legs, and Dad goes, get to the pole.
Yeah.
No, he didn't say anything. He dropped it, and it took him 5 times longer than anybody else to get to the pole. And I remember thinking, that's pretty cool. He's not treating him any differently. But after practice, the mom came up and said, you can't do that to my son.
Yeah.
And I remember Dad going, your son can do anything these other boys can do. And if he's on my team, he will do anything these boys would do. He never came back. And that sticks to me from this day because they're treating him, and that's the way he wanted to be treated. But the mom didn't want to be treated. But Dad was crazy, though. We did a lot of stuff. And if y'all know, a lot of people don't know Old Clyde. There's Old Clyde and there's New Clyde.
Yeah.
And the Old Clyde, we're out there in the baseball. He lectured, and he's always lectured.
Still does that.
And he got a story for everything. And he would pull the ball team in. He goes, today's practice, guys, was terrible. We can be better. I don't know if I share this now.
No.
He said, I want each and every one of y'all go home tonight, stand in front of the mirror, pull your pants down, and I want to know if you boys are real men, and come back to practice ready. I remember going, and I do remember time. Oh God, these are my friends. I'm in trouble, but they loved it. They loved it.
Everybody.
And of course now I know today in a day's time if that happened, he would no longer be a coach.
Yeah.
We related.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't now.
Getting
it was
girlfriends. Everything was related.
It was
to real
relations.
life ball.
Yeah.
To real life. Happening.
And that's why people always loved him because he just shot you the way it was and put a story behind it.
He still does.
Absolutely.
He does. But back then he had a cuss box and all kind of other stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's a little milder now.
Yeah, we're good now.
Well, we talked a lot about growing up, a lot of great stories. We could stay here for hours and hours and just talk about all these moments. But I think that the takeaways is just the bond that you guys have, the things that happened growing up kind of formed so much of you guys working as a team. And then early on, from early ages, very, very rare in today's companies. You don't hardly ever hear it, but you guys have been working there, since the time y'all were kids, really, and probably have worked every single job in Metro at some point. So, the perspective of that goes deep. And you guys have been there and seen everything from your whole lives. So that's pretty incredible. You sometimes will hear of second generation companies or third generation companies, but you don't always hear that story. And so when we come back next, we're going to get a little bit more into the story of Metro Waterproofing over the last 20 something years and talk a little bit more about what happened and how these guys took on the company and grew it by leaps and bounds. So tune in, subscribe, listen, share with your friends. Had a great time today. This was fun, and we literally could keep going and do this for hours. So thank you guys for listening, and Godspeed.